I'm Eli Karp, founder of Hello Living, a community-based real estate development company in Brooklyn. A simple signature philosophy that has fueled and defined my success as an entrepreneur for nearly 2 decades, and with more than $500 million in development projects. Never settle for the status quo. The status quo is where innovation retreats to die. People often seek my guidance and counsel regarding potential real estate ventures and opportunities. There is no easy money in real estate. It takes the unwavering strength and perseverance of hardened steel and concrete to forge success in this business. I only design units that I could actually see myself living in. I'm Eli Karp, and this is my blueprint. Upon purchasing a development site, you must understand and plan for any extra cost that may arise due to any number of different circumstances, both anticipated and unforeseen. Always keep these additional costs in mind when negotiating a price per square foot. If you plan on taking on any of the previous mentioned red flags, like an E designation, or close proximity to MTA line, landmark status, or flood zones, you must understand the cost and additional timing involved when you negotiate the purchase price. MIH, mandatory inclusionary housing. Certain areas require mandatory inclusionary housing, a program that alters zoning so that a certain percentage of new housing built on that lot must remain permanently affordable. You'll need to have your plans reviewed and approved by the HPD, the New York City Department of Housing Preservation and Development. This is a difficult and lengthy process that can take up to several months. Only once approved by the HPD can you start your filing with a DOB, which can take another 6 months or even longer. Demolition is very expensive, so it often makes sense to pay a little more for an empty lot, because you'll ultimately save on demolition costs. Sometimes you'll have the additional costs of supporting the neighboring walls connected to that old lot. And if it's an attached structure, it becomes even more complicated and costly, as you'll need to waterproof and apply stucco to their exposed walls before you can proceed with your project. You'll need to engage a licensed engineer to draw up your demolition plans, plus arrange the water, sewer, gas, and electric disconnects. You'll also need to install any required site safety elements, such as a sidewalk shed to protect pedestrians and neighboring structures, and perform asbestos testing and any needed abatement. If there is any existing structure adjacent to your lot, you will most likely need to dig deeper than its foundation, forcing you to underpin that neighboring building and extend it down to match your new footing. You'll need specially engineered plans, as you will need to divide the concrete sections in small parts, just a few feet at a time, so not to disturb the existing footings. You'll need to hire a survey monitoring company to monitor the structure you're underpinning to ensure there is no cracking resulting from the process. You'll also need to execute an access agreement with that neighbor. If the neighbor refuses to negotiate or sign that agreement, you will need to obtain a court order granting your access and permission to perform this work, which can be a lengthy process. Underpinning can quickly become very expensive, so it's preferred to either avoid properties that require it or employ another method to protect and support the neighboring building. For example, I tried to use a step footing Meaning, I start my footing at the neighbor's level, set back 5 or 10 feet away from their foundation, and then drop down to the desired level. This may result in a smaller cellar, but it eliminates the massive headache of underpinning. If you have an attached neighbor and their building has a chimney, you are legally required to extend their chimney up to the top of your building and are responsible for that cost. When building adjacent to attached neighbors, you'll eventually need access to their roof in order to install roof protection to protect their building from possible falling debris, and to set up scaffolds if you plan to install stucco or paneled walls on your own building. You'll need to negotiate and execute access agreements with your neighbors, and it's almost always easier and more efficient to retain an attorney to handle these agreements in a manner that ensures that all parties are happy and to prevent future issues or disputes for years to come.